What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Sure to like and sub, and let's get into this. I am in California. I'm in Long Beach, so thankfully I am safe. The fires, it would be quite impressive actually if it made it all the way down here, but it has been the worst fires in the history of Los Angeles and of California. Pacific Palisades, parts of Malibu, they're basically just gone. Going into Pasadena, part of downtown. I had heard this months ago, and then thankfully someone found it on all the places, Joe Rogan. So before we get into Zachary Levi and James Woods saying what they've said about Gavin Newsom, check this out. This is, of course, from the Joe Rogan Show, July 19th, 2024.
I talked to a fireman once. This is one of the reasons it freaked me out. And he was telling me, he goes, dude, one day, he goes, it's just going to be the right wind and fire is going to start in the right place and it's going to burn through LA all the way to the ocean. And there's not a fucking thing we can do about it. I go, really? He goes, yeah, we just get lucky. He goes, we get lucky with the wind. He goes, but if the wind hits the wrong way, it's just going to burn straight through LA and there's not going to be a thing we can do about it. Because these fires are so big, dude. When they're talking about like thousands of acres that are burning simultaneously with like 40-mile-an-hour winds. And the wind's just blowing embers through the air, and those embers are landing on roofs, and those houses are going up, and they're landing on bushes, and those bushes are going up, and everything's dry. And once it happens in a way where it's so spread out that there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do.
You just have to evacuate, right?
Nothing they can do. I talked to a fire.
So that event just took place. Pacific Palisades are all but wiped out. And unfortunately, there is really, Mother Nature, but really it is Gavin Newsom. And I wish I didn't have to say this, but it is actually DEI hiring. When you look at who has been replaced, who has been fired, who has been hired, who was running the fire department, Trump talked about this for years, rather, of them not cleaning. You got to sweep the forest. What it means, you have to clear it of super dry tinder that was like to go up. That's what the Forest Service was for. The fire department was cut by $16 million. Yeah, it's a hodgepodge of errors and criminally negligent, in my opinion, and many others. One of those that shares that opinion is, of course, Zachary Levi, who went on Fox News, and of course, after calling for, thoughts and prayers, which always pisses off the left, which right now is trying to celebrate a lot of this in a disgusting way. Talking about how it looked post-apocalyptic, he said, I would go so far as to say it's criminally negligent because, Gavin Newsom has been either the governor for 5 years or lieutenant governor for 8-9 years. Some of the worst fires we've ever had in California under that watch. He clearly knows that the biggest problem that we suffer in California are these fires, and by the way, the mudslides that follow. And for them to do essentially just nothing, but worse than nothing, when firefighter budgets are being cut, they ran out of water. And that's the other thing. Trump talked about this, that they naturally divert water into the Pacific Ocean, water that we could have for our forests, for the hydrants, etc., to protect like a fucking school of fish or something, a species of fish. And for them to do essentially just nothing, but worse than nothing when firefighter budgets are being cut, when they are specifically intentionally not doing the work that could be done to avoid these problems or to be able to effectively serve them when they are happening. We are losing, I think it's something like millions of acres of feet of water runoff from rain and snow every year in California. As you pointed out, I think the smelt has something to do with that. An acre foot of water, by the way, is about 330,000 gallons of water. And there's millions of those that are just rolling off into the ocean when they could be captured in cisterns. We have an ecosystem of hoses and safety measures that can keep all of those homes and people in these homes safe. And for some reason, they chose not to do that. And that's when you start getting into the let them happen on purpose, or that this was deliberately done. The Great Reset's upon us. At some point, it goes beyond just whoopsie. At some point, it goes beyond negligence. There is something that's almost criminally intentional about this. What are they doing? I don't know. And then James Woods, who, lost his house, broke down on CNN. I'm not going to play it, but there are I realize the name is Lucifer, but there are absolute pieces of shit on the left who are just loving this. If you were a MAGA voter, If you dared to suggest that climate change, while real, was not nearly as important or as damaging as other things, they are really celebrating right now. So here he says, the irony of James Woods, known for his skepticism about climate change, of which this wasn't. This was poor forest keeping and budgeting of your fire chiefs and Jesus. Losing his home to the very wildlife linked to climate change impacts in California is striking. James, of course, saying this is not from climate change, you ignorant asshole. It's because liberal idiots like you elect liberal idiots like Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass. One doesn't understand the first thing about fire management, and the other can't fill water reservoirs. And as we just saw, Adam Carolla talking about from his hotel room because he's evacuated. You are going to see a new red wave of frustrated Democrats when they go to rebuild, when they go to call in their insurance claims that they find out were canceled, when they go to rebuild their homes and they can't pull permits and it takes months. Yeah. All of a sudden, that liberal bureaucracy is going to become the enemy to them. And so can't wait to see what that's going to look like. But in the meantime, I am agreeing with Zachary Levi and James Wood. Holy hell, what an absolute bungling of a situation that at this point I do believe is criminally negligent. You let me know what you think. Either way, make sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you.
Well, bye.